how much work is too much work. So I've come up with another one of my little sayings that people are not balloons. So to illustrate this, hopefully there's a defibrillator nearby because I have to. All right. So for most people, this is your workload. You are comfortable with it. You can get it done. You're like, I got this. I can do it. But then some other duty comes up. Okay, I can get that done. I may have to stay late or come in early. But, and hey, Ken, we need you to help with this project as well. Okay. And then, that other thing that just came out. Oh, yeah. And this principal is maybe a little clueless. So, and you see what's happening. This balloon is getting really full. And you're having a hard time getting everything done. And it's a very stressful situation. Just because you're a top performer, you're like a superhero, you can't be everywhere at once and do it all the time. Because two things are going to happen. Now, don't worry. I'm like you. I don't like loud noises. So the balloon is going to pop. And in the world of the person, they basically say, well, take this job and shove it. Where they say, I'm done, I'm out, never coming back. You lose that potential experience and enthusiasm. Now, the other thing that happens is equally not bad. The person tries to get everything done, but it doesn't work. Over time, stuff starts to not get done, or it's not done very well. And it's another form of frustration, where that person just isn't able to do it, and they are trying hard. They are working hard, but they're in a situation where it just won't work. So sometimes we are the people who are being overinflated. Sometimes we might be the person who's given all those extra things to someone. This is where communication is essential, because you have to have a good line of communication, because often the supervisor has no idea what the employee is doing, how they do their job. For some people, your job might be like Hogwarts, where it's kind of magical, like Harry Potter, and you just somehow wave the wand and get it done. Exactly. So what you want to make sure is let people know, hey, this is a little extra, this is going to create problems for this or that. That allows the leader to say something that you may never have expected they would say, which could be like, hey, you know that task? Don't worry about it this month. Or we maybe could have this person do it. The problem happens when someone starts suffering in silence and doesn't say it. We've been kind of trained to think that saying, I'm overwhelmed and I can't do my best work under the current circumstances is a negative. It shouldn't be. We should have the courage to say, you're overinflating the balloon. People are not balloons. This is another one that I think is important, especially as we are dealing with new people, new organizations, and it's a training issue. This one I call, don't treat your customers like gym members. Maybe you have been in an area that has gotten a brand new gymnasium. And you go over there because you're thinking, I got to lose a couple pounds. I had a few too many marshmallows last night. And you walk in, and the place is spotless. The equipment works perfectly. And the staff are extremely attentive. They're giving you the gift of listening. They're right there with you. And you're like, here's my credit card. Sign me up. And then a little bit of time goes by. And something changes in the relationship. Because when you're on the cycle bike and you're going along, you realize it doesn't crank as well as it used to. So you go to the person at the front desk, and you say, hey man, the cycle bike, and then you realize, oh, that's not the front desk person I used to know who was so attentive. This is someone who has a really intense relationship with his phone. And he's just kind of like, oh yeah, we'll take care of it, don't worry about it. And then you walk around and you're like, ooh, this place is getting a little messy, not that clean. And I am not making this up. At one place, their cleaning ritual consisted of a gentleman walking around and doing this. I think he was trying to scare the dust away. Over time, this started to send the message. We don't care about you. We just want your credit card number. You're not important. Now, some businesses can get away with that. But often what we see is a new gym could open up in town, and suddenly what was once a really good business suddenly starts to go downhill. So what happened? Often, it's an issue of training and succession, where originally you had people who were trained up in what to do, the customer service, the expectations were all there. But then as happens over time, people leave, people move on, they go on to do other things, and apparently there is no way to communicate that information to the new people, to communicate those values. So all of a sudden, something that was once great goes down to below average. So I urge people to make sure that they have policies, procedures, that inside scoop information. Is it recorded somewhere? So many places they say, oh, it's in a manual. Do we know where the manual is? It's in some drawer somewhere. Well, then the manual really isn't helping you that much. Or if it's on a computer network. I once saw a place where they said, oh, it's the XYZ file. Well, is it XYZ1, XYZ10, XYZB? You couldn't find it. Is the information there so people can pick it up? This is very important because, as we have learned, life is unpredictable. You never know if suddenly a family emergency sees you leave the area. Maybe, God forbid, you get in a car accident and you have to suddenly deal with that. People can be suddenly out of the job, off the task for a long period of time, and maybe there was no advanced warning. So organizations that have thought about how do we maintain standards and how do we make it easy for people to learn that, they are much successful. They stand the test of time. What type of role does trust play in your world? You know, we trust that a doctor will make us feel better. We trust that a teacher will make us excited about learning. And we trust that a coach can see skills in us that maybe we don't see in ourselves. So how are you when it comes to trust? What if your ability to trust people was put up on stage in front of hundreds of people? What would that be like? Well, that is the world of professional ballet. There is a dance. It is called a pas de deux, which is a really fancy way of saying a dance that's between two people. Typically, it's between a man and a woman. In this dance, there is a move. This is the active part of the presentation because I'm going to try to demonstrate it somewhat. Stand by. The ballerina, she will run across the stage, launch herself gracefully into the air, and then fall into her partner's waiting arms. He catches her, brings her down, and they continue dancing. When it is executed correctly, it is one of those take your breath away moments of beauty. But I found out that this dance does not happen without trust. See, I asked some of the people behind the scenes, and they told me, in this dance, the ballerina, she has to be 100% focused on that jump. She has to get as high as she can, as gracefully as she can. What can't she think about? The landing. She can't think about, is she going to fall? Is her partner not going to be able to get her? Is she going to get hurt? If she starts to think about that, the move does not work. It's much the same for her partner. He's got to be ready for that catch. He can't be distracted by other things that are happening, other occurrences. 100% focus has to be on catching her because sometimes he has to make a split-second decision. Not all jumps are the same. Maybe you're performing outdoors on a nice, hot summer day. and the costumes have become slick with perspiration. So he's got to be there to catch her. Two dancers united in trust. In your world, I believe those students who are coming to America are like that ballerina. And each and every one of you are that partner. Do we have trust? Do we need trust? Will we see trust? I realize that sometimes when you're at an event like this, change is possible. But sometimes when you go back to work and back to the hustle and bustle, you can fall into some old habits, old patterns, and that's okay. But what if we could get you a little more practice at experiencing change? And let's say that change was something unexpected, but you'd be in a situation where you were supported. Well, breaking news. PAX group about to try group activity. Could be fun. Details at 11. All right. So, what I want you to do in just a moment, I have put on your tables these little rolls. We are going to make paper hats. Your mission is to make a paper hat.